Unheard Gems. Today we are joined by one of my favorite pure powerhouse artists who just made her way into my all-time favorite artist list. This is Rozzi, and we're so excited to get to talk with you today on Unheard Gems. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, just to start off, I wanted to give some new listeners for you on Unheard Gems, and maybe even some returning ones, a chance to get to know you a little bit better. So could you give us a bit of your how you got started in music origin story?
Yeah, so I'm from San Francisco, and I went to USC for a little while for this music program, and when I was a teenager, I was a background singer. I was touring with Don Henley from the Eagles and Sergio Mendes, and then when I was 19, I got signed to Adam Levine for Maroon 5. He heard this song that I wrote, and he literally wrote me an email and was like, I don't have a label, but I'll start one if you'll be the first artist. And that was kind of my initiation into the industry. I went on a lot of tours with Maroon 5. I used to do like the Christina Aguilera part and Luke Jagger, and that was like a great beginning. Ultimately, we weren't like creatively on the same page, and it just wasn't a perfect fit. So we parted ways, and I spent a couple years like just doing some development and writing a lot of songs, and I finally put out my first album in November, and I just have been touring it and working on my next album.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add that I love that you're from San Francisco, because same here.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if you thought that had any impact, like growing up in San Francisco, if that had any impact on you as an artist and a musician, if that music scene had any influence.
Yeah, I think that San Francisco, at least when I was growing up, was very supportive of creativity and very supportive of like expressing yourself through art. That was definitely a part of the community. You know, everyone was kind of like, a lot of the parents were like aged hippies who had figured it out, and so we all, like most of my people in my life, had some creative outlet, and that was just kind of normal. There's also just like an exceptional voice teacher. Her name's Amber Morris, and she still teaches in San Rafael, and she, I think, is responsible for like the self-confidence of a generation of girls that I grew up with, who all learned how to sing with her. And it was more than just singing, it was how to express yourself and be yourself, and that had a huge influence on me. So definitely, from what I hear and my experience when I go home, San Francisco is maybe not quite as creatively, like that's not the emphasis of the community as much anymore, but it definitely was when I was growing up.
And so I also just want to give you major high praise on your album Bad Together. You said it came out in November. That's a really huge deal. And then I just thought it was mind-blowingly amazing the entire way through, just every single song. What would you say inspired this album for you, and what was the process of working on it and releasing it like?
So my manager at the time when I was writing it said to me, when I was like working on writing, he's like, if you're in the studio and you're kind of embarrassed to say something, you're on the right track. And that, I would say, is like kind of like the foundation of the whole album and kind of my whole philosophy of writing now. It's just like what inspired it was just my life, and I made a conscious effort to not hold back lyrically, and songwriting is like kind of where I say stuff that I might never say in life, or things that I think that I'm too afraid to say, or it doesn't feel appropriate to say, or feels like kind of embarrassing. In song, like that's like where I let that shit out, honestly. So the inspiration was just everything in my life, and being really open about it. I mean, most obviously, I wrote it about a relationship. The whole thing is kind of a concept album. It goes from the beginning of the relationship with the first song, Visions, to the end of the relationship, and like kind of after the breakup, what that experience is like. And it's like chronological and tells that whole story. And that's like maybe the most obvious storyline, but if we got into it, not all the songs are actually about that. You know, they just kind of fit into the story, but some of them are about my friends, or about my friends' relationships, or about just me and my relationship with myself, and it's a little bit more nuanced than that. But that's like the overarching theme, I would say.
And so I also like playing little description games, so if you would indulge me with this, if you were to use only 5 words to describe and sell that album, what words would you use?
I would say soulful, honest, emotional, personal, and a little spicy.
I think those are pretty good descriptors. So you also have just some incredible music videos sort of moving in that direction, and your most recent is to your song Bad Together, and I think firstly just all of your songs and videos really touch on this sense of vulnerability, and I feel like this one especially. So what was your inspiration for the video and the process of taking that song and making this visual piece for it?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about that. I love that video. I'm like, that's like, if I were to show anyone, if I were to try and explain myself to anybody, that's what I would show them, because it's what I wanted for it. The song I wrote at a moment when I just did not care what anyone thought. I just was writing it for myself. I had just broken up with my ex-boyfriend. It was the first song I wrote. I was really sad, and I just wrote it for me. So the result is it's very, very raw. I mean, it's almost exactly just what I sang live that day in the studio. My friend Eric, who I wrote it with, is playing the piano. It's just him playing it. And there's no other instruments. It's just piano, just my voice. It's super, super, like you said, vulnerable. And I wanted the video to reflect that. So I wanted just my face. I wanted no makeup. I wanted no clothes, no jewelry. It's just my I mean, you've seen it, but for anyone who hasn't, it's just my shoulders and my face, and I'm wearing a shirt, but you can't see it. And I'm not wearing any makeup, and I just have my hair up off my face, and I just wanted it to just be about the story and just be about the song, because that's what the song is. And that's what I like about it, is that there's like no frills. It's really like just the raw feeling that I think a lot of people have felt when they go through a breakup. It's just like this very lonely, sad feeling, and that's what I wanted the video to be like. Nick Leopold, who directed it, came up with the idea of making me like kind of move through a house the whole time, so I wasn't just in one place, which I love, because it kind of has this dream-like, nostalgic feeling, like you're kind of floating through this house that maybe was the house that the relationship, most of the stuff took place in. You kind of get this like dreamy feeling. And I originally wanted it in black and white, which we did originally, but then like kind of just like by accident, Nick like tried it just in color, and it was so much more like alive and human and exciting, and so we went with that.
It's a beautiful video. So,
thank you.
All of your videos are absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much.
I just want to brag for you for a second. You've done so many things, like Jimmy Kimmel, been in Rolling Stone, Billboard sessions. You had Scott Hoying on one of your songs. You, as you said, were discovered by Adam Levine, and you're signed to a branch of Columbia Records. Like, that's a really big deal, and you're a major powerhouse in this music industry. And I just wanted to know how this journey may have changed you as a person or artist, if you've identified that at all. And then if you had any advice to other artists who are trying to get where you are now.
Yeah. I mean, what I say to people is if you're an artist and this is what you were born to do and this is what you know in your soul is the only thing you can do, then it's all worth it. If there's anything else you could do, maybe consider doing it, because all those things you just said, that's like the short list, and I'm so grateful for it all, and I'm proud of it all, but it's been a lot of ups and downs for me. I've had a lot of really exciting moments, a lot of really painful moments, and it never ends. Like you play these tours and it's exciting, and then you go home and you make the next song, and you have to love it so much, and I do. It's like, it's just who I am and what I'm supposed to do. So, you know, no matter those highlights, like, will come and go, but like, it's all the moments in between that you got to get down with. Like, get down with the moments when you're working on the song and you can't figure it out, and no one else seems to care, and it's not whatever. Like, that's where the real stuff happens. So I guess my advice would be to just focus on the music, and and if you know that this is what you're supposed to do, then commit to it completely, and then just focus on making the best, most authentic stuff you can, and worry about the other stuff later. Because the first thing you really need is good music. That's more important than anything. And it's totally changed me. I mean, I have always been super ambitious, but I would say what I've learned is that I actually, deep down, it wasn't about success or accolades or money or anything like that. It's been about, like, I'm just like kind of just head over heels in love with music. And like over the years, I've really learned that in a deeper way, that what I want to be doing is just making music, and my goals have shifted from trying to get somewhere to just my goal now is just to only make what I want to make. Just make my favorite stuff and make sure it's authentic and make sure I love it. Yeah.
And so I know I just listed a bunch of claims to fame, but honestly, I had not really heard too much of your music prior to when Betty Who announced that you were going to go on tour with her.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with you as soon as I started playing your stuff, and I got to see you in San Francisco, and you have such an incredible stage presence and an ability, like, you wove funny stories and narrative throughout the entire show, and I thought that was just a really clever way of doing your set. And so, just also, how was touring with Betty? For those who may have missed seeing you there, where can they see you live next? Because I know you have some stuff planned.
Yeah, I love Betty so much. Betty, I've been a fan of forever, for a long time, and I've been like just trying to claw my way into friendship, and so I was very excited when she asked me to tour with her. We had the best time, and I'm so glad you came to the shows. It's so great, and I met so many of her fans, and I love her fans, just like the coolest community of people. But anyway, that was really fun. Love her. Her whole crew was amazing. Everyone is. The thing about touring is like you spend 45 minutes on stage, and then you spend like every other 23 other hours like just hanging out with people. You're like never alone. You're like I'm with my guitarist, I'm with my tour manager, I'm with Betty's crew, I'm with like you're just so you gotta like so the best tours are when you love everyone, and she just has like the best crew. So that was, and I had the best crew too. So that was just really fun. And then I'm going back on tour in August. I'm opening for American Authors and OAR, and we're playing a lot of places. Everyone should go to my website. thisisrozzi.com, and I have all the dates. But it's mostly like Midwest, and then like South and West Coast is where we're going to be. So that'll be really fun. All of August, end of summer too.
And also, just sort of during your set, I think you played a new song, or maybe two. So what can we expect of new music? If you're allowed to tell us anything, maybe when we should expect new music?
Okay, so honestly, I have no idea when, but I have so much. Like, I have basically another album. It's not finished, but it's written, and some of it's close to finished. So I really want to try and get music out this year. We'll see. But I'm trying to, because I have so much new stuff. And as much as I'm loving that people are, like, kind of slowly discovering Bad Together, and I love that, so I'm so proud of that album. Like, as an artist, like, I've already kind of moved on to this whole new era, and I have all this new stuff, and I can't wait. I can't wait for everyone else to hear that. So it's coming, but I don't know when.
Very exciting. And so I always ask this to the artists I interview. If you were to recommend an artist who you think isn't or hasn't gotten enough recognition in the music industry, who would you recommend to us, and why?
Ooh, that's such a good question. There's so many. I have a friend named, his name's Eric, but his band name is Okudaxage, which is like the most insane album name ever. If you know him, it's so him to name his album that, but it's spelled like Okudaxji, I think. Okudaxage, whatever, it's crazy. But he's amazing. He's like, kind of has like a Jeff Buckley thing going on, but like also like kind of has like a weird like early Coldplay thing going on. I love him. He's amazing. I also have a friend named Sam Wilkes who I used to work with all the time, and we're actually writing later today. And he's unbelievable. He's a jazz musician, and he has this instrumental album that's absolutely beautiful, and he has a vocal album hopefully coming soon. And he's special. So those two, I would say.
I'll be sure to check them out.
Yeah.
And so, sort of coming to a close here, is there anything you want to leave us with about you? Anything about your message, or where we can find you? I'll link all of your social media below and wherever I post this, so that'll for sure be there. I mean,
you did a great job. I love your questions. I feel like the main thing came across, which is my album is about vulnerability and being yourself, and if there's anything like bigger picture that I could inspire people to do, it would be to get down with themselves in a real way and be who they are in a real way, and say what they think and not hold back. So I'm glad that you got that vibe from my album, and that's definitely what I try and do in my music and in my life, and I try and spread that to as many people as possible. Yeah, and then just follow the gram. That's the only other thing.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk with us. It was great hearing from you.
Yeah, that we've been growing distant suddenly, and I can't believe that I won't be there for you, there for you, there for you.
friend.